is if you really look closely, it really is Jerry Seinfeld playing every character, including Elaine,
Bro,
Kramer, all of them.
every time. Hey guys, this is Nino. Welcome to the Boise Hive podcast. I am joined in the studio today with actually a few people, and we have no problem calling them out here. So we have Alex is our graphic designer, engineer, co-executive producer. He kind of does it all around here. We got moral support right now from Daniel Bueller. Can you guys say something? You guys got mics in there?
Ow!
All right, they're here. And then we also have Tara, who is our operations manager in the house today. Can you say hi too?
Hello.
All right, perfect. So, so here we are. So, again, we're always going to start with the Boise Hive mission, which is to prevent suicide within the local music community. And there's a number of different services that we provide here. So, we'll kind of go over our calendar on Tuesday. We have Life Recovery from 12 to 1:30. Wednesday, we have Sober Curious, 6 to 7:30. The last Wednesday of every month, we have open mic 6 to 8. Last Thursday of every month is hip hop 6 to 10. Friday, vets jam it out 6 to 9. You don't have to be a vet to do that. But yeah, these are some of the things that we have kind of going on every week. Alex, you want to put anything in on that?
We still have the open mic on the last Wednesday of every month, and that will be.
Tell us a little bit about that open mic. I know you're involved in that. How does that go down?
Oh, so it's not unlike your typical open mics that you see. You know, you bring an instrument and your voice, and we have everything set up for making sure you sound good. We got the microphones and instrument plugins and everything. What I think sets this open mic apart, other than the fact that it's not located in a bar and you don't have to sit on stage wondering if everybody doesn't want you there, is everybody does want you there, and it's just a ton of variety that we've really successfully kind of fostered. We've had this great 12-string player doing like folk songs, and followed by just the craziest like noise band you've ever heard. We've had electronic acts. I'm waiting for a stand-up comedian to come in. Really anything.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that because I almost feel that you guys relish in the challenge of miking something, especially with the Synth Society pull. It's like you bring some weird gadget here, we'll put a chord on it, we'll get it through the main PA, we'll make you sound good. But literally, like whether you have a guitar amp, whether you have a synthesizer, whether you have like a sequencer, like you guys will make it work. Like, and that's so cool.
And none of that's very difficult. Like we had that noise band that opened one day. They showed up at like right at 7, right as we were about to like get started, and we had them set up in 5 minutes or something like that. And it was so worth it. It was great.
Totally. So let's get on to some more serious topics, but we'll keep it as light as we can. So I'm around here a lot. I'm talking to people, finding out different topics, and one of the things that's actually come up a few times is the correlation of trauma and suicide and just mental health in general. And, some of the things that, after doing some research, I thought it'd be beneficial to identify some types of trauma, have a mini conversation about it, kind of normalize some of these things, because the fact of the matter is the majority of the people that experience trauma do not get the mental health they need. Would you agree with that, Alex?
Well, yeah, and I mean, gosh, there's so many people that undergo like a serious trauma and maybe don't even realize it, or they don't think of it as a traumatic event. But it's crazy the things that can linger within us for a long time.
No, absolutely. And along this journey, I kind of found out that they kind of classify trauma a few different ways. There's the acute trauma, there's chronic trauma, there's complex that kind of are a little bit of everything. But we're going to talk about some of these. So some of the main 7 types of trauma that I've been seeing doing my research are bullying, community violence, disasters as well as tragedies, early childhood trauma, intimate partner violence, medical trauma, physical abuse. So, as you can see, these types of things are pretty widespread. And I would imagine that everybody at some point in their life will experience some type of trauma. um, Obviously, we the best thing to do if you are have experienced one of these topics is to get with a doctor, possibly have some therapy, and in some situations they might even prescribe medication. These are things that we have to start normalizing. We have to start having these conversations. Because if you don't take that first step to get help, what's the other side of it? And the whole gist of this is to kind of prevent suicide, increase our mental health. But I did look up some things and find out some ways to kind of, I'd say, naturally fight the effects of mental health related trauma stress. And some of them are, and I thought they were pretty interesting.
Like
um,
essential oils,
I mean, hey,
crystals.
whatever it takes, like, hold a crystal. But some of them were anything simple, from just having like a regular sleep schedule. And it's something that people don't talk about a lot. Is like prioritize sleep.
Yes,
You
that is
know,
a big one. And I say that with some emphasis because I underestimated the importance of sleep for a long time. I was one of those people in college. I loved like pulling all nighters and doing all that, and it really horrible for your brain. It's worth noting.
yeah, absolutely. Also, things are just being aware of your work and personal life balance, and making sure that you're making time to, work for your family, for yourself, to work out, making sure that you're taking care of your body on a physical level is also huge when it comes to dealing with I guess, mental health in general. But I mean, specifically, what I was researching was kind of in the trauma realm. And Also being okay with talking about it, and letting people around your inner circle know how you're feeling. Sometimes people don't. Sometimes people wait to be asked, and we should be asking more. That's a fact. I'm not going to denounce the fact that more people should be asking people how they're feeling. But on the flip side, you could also be more vocal when you are in that low space, and tell people, tell your support, circle, tell your spouse, tell your best friend, tell your coworker. Just little first steps of reaching out can sometimes be that tipping point that you need to get the help that you deserve. So,
And that's where I think the importance of like a professional comes in is even if you have a great support network, which in reality a lot of us don't. But even if you do, there's kind of like, there's appropriate times and ways to talk about this stuff. And I think a lot of people have a hard time with that. Um, because a lot of us cope with like humor, like dark humor, or we cope by like speaking really candidly about like terrible things. And sometimes people don't know how to respond to that, and that's where like being facilitated by a professional I think becomes really important because they will know how to kind of like see through the walls you're putting up even when you're talking about it.
oh, absolutely. So again, we don't get too much into the specifics and stuff like this here, but it is apparent that childhood trauma does increase suicidal ideation, sexual trauma. People are 40% more likely to commit suicide when they're experiencing that. Something else I thought was crazy was in 2022 it was found that kids that are bullied in school are 9 times more likely to commit suicide, and that's huge. It should be more. I know that it's kind of cliche and people jump on the bullying bandwagon, but it is literally a huge problem in America right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get on to something a little bit more light before we bring Tara in to ask her a couple questions about what she does here at the Hive. So, as always, we have two band features on every episode. And today, our first one, we are going to highlight Neptune Moon. They are part of the Hive family. I'm actually playing a show with them next month. They're good guys. They got a lot of good music. So,
And I'm happy to kind of get this out there because this was also produced right here in this studio. And yeah, I was really happy with how this one turned out. They did a great job, and they're great at this like sort of complex arranging, and it's fun.
All right, well, let's go ahead and take a peek here. We have Neptune Moon with Undead. All right, once again, that's Undead from Neptune Moon. You can find everything that you need from Neptune Moon on their link tree. Just go ahead and check out linktree/Neptune Moon Music. All right. So, one of the things that we incorporate in the show is that we have interviews and people on the show. Yay. And we try to do the right targets and make sure we have people that matter. And today on the show, we have Tara, who is the operations manager here at the Boise Hive. Tara, can you say hi?
Hi.
All right. Perfect. So, well, let's get into this. What do you do here at the Boise Hive?
So a lot of my responsibilities are just being here, like being a first point of contact. If people come in and want to know more about the hive, they just kind of drop in and I give them a little tour and tell them, what we're about, that we give them our mission statement of preventing suicide and give them some information about our mental health team, the services that they offer and how to get in contact with them if that's something that they're seeking out. There's a lot of the like boring business stuff of like bookkeeping and making sure that the mortgage is paid and the utilities and all of that. But the really rewarding part of the job is just being that first point of contact to be able to kind of give people the resources that might be useful to them.
Absolutely, and I'll go further because that's just like the boring stuff. But I hang out here sometimes before it opens, and I see who's here. And Tara will also she'll feed a stray cat. She'll pull a shot of espresso.
We've got a whole neighborhood of stray cats
Oh
around
God,
here. It's
like we
great.
feed like
And they're all getting fed by me.
And they're
absolutely,
wonderful.
like,
They're great
they're all
cats.
overweight. Like kitty obesity will be an episode that we'll have to do later.
We're
But,
creating our own content. Yeah.
But she does, and she's right. A lot of times in those, even before the place technically opens, people will stop by and they'll be like, "Hey, like I'm thinking about jamming here. Or, hey, I've heard about this place. I'd like to show my friend or my children here." So it's a very welcoming environment, and it is nice that you are the person that they see when they get here. So how long have you been associated with the Hive?
So it's been about 5 years. When I started dating my now husband, he was in a couple of bands. They would rehearse here. They played the Live at the Hive shows pretty frequently, and I really came to appreciate like what the Hive stood for and their mission statement and how they prioritized getting musicians the mental health resources that they need. And I've been an official staff member for almost a year.
Perfect. Now, I know you go to a lot of shows. I know you see a lot of bands, and you're pretty active in the community. What is your favorite thing about Boise local music?
Um, God, just how supportive everybody is of all of the different genres of music. Like you'll have folk musicians open for punk shows and punk shows open for metal shows. And it's just this great cross section where people are able to come together and support each other. Maybe they don't play the same kind of music, maybe they don't listen to the same kind of music, but it's just a very inclusive environment and very supportive.
I totally agree. Very eclectic and underrated too. Like people wouldn't probably think that if they thought about like the local music community in Boise, Idaho. They might think it's more folk. It might think that it's more on country, but in my experience, especially being pretty active in the last 2 years in the community, it's everything. And there is so much local talent in this town. Would you agree, Alex?
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just everywhere. Like everywhere you go, you just see tons and tons and tons of talent.
I feel like this whole city is built on really overqualified people.
I agree. No, I agree. I find that in every little endeavor that I get involved with. Like there is just so much talent just in this town everywhere. Now, to kind of tie it into the show theme, what are your thoughts on the connection between musicians and mental health?
I mean, I think that we've all heard the saying a struggling artist, and like that's usually used in reference like as to their ability to pay their bills, but like also that struggle goes deep. Like it's mental health, it's housing insecurity, it's low access to medical resources. Like the
Absolutely.
the artist is most definitely struggling in multiple ways, and so we kind of need to raise the bar and step up to the plate and help them out and give them the resources that they need.
I agree, and that's one of the things that I love about the Hive is that they're trying to do that as much as they can, and it's not just within the local music community. Anyone that is experiencing trauma or suicidal thoughts or just low mental health, the Hive has a number of different levels of resources that you can use, even if you're not actually coming to one of like the groups or anything like that. Just being in the facility, just hanging out with the Daniels and the Alex and Tara when she's here and stuff like that is just a fun environment. It's just a good place, and you don't necessarily have to sit down in a chair with a therapist to kind of experience the benefits of this special place. So, I mean, I want to thank Tara for being here. Sorry, Tara, for being here. And I encourage anyone that wants to know more about the Hive to come down here and bug her, like I do. And you'll probably find out some really, really, really cool stuff that's going on here. And maybe just some other stuff. Maybe you'll have to feed a cat. Maybe you'll have to, take some trash out or something. I don't
Take a
know,
cat
whatever
home
it
with
is.
you.
Take two. It's completely fine. So I think this will bring us to the close of episode 2. Always, Boise Hive can be reached at boisehive.org. Also, you can search us on YouTube. We can be reached by telephone 208-344-4994. Again, that's 208-344-4994. If you are experiencing any types of suicidal thoughts, you can also use text or call 988. Again, you can text or call 988. So on behalf of the Boise Hive podcast, we're going to sign off here. But as always, we're going to end the show with another band feature, and I will pass this over to Alex.
Yeah, today we got a little track from a very well-known up-and-coming band here in Boise known as Plum Vision. They're a all-female rock group. They sound absolutely amazing, and their shows are an absolute blast. You can catch them at Tree Fort this year. And what's the name of this song that we got coming?
The name of this song is called Friday Night.
Friday Night. And you can find them on Instagram at Plum Vision Band or Linktree /Plum Vision.
Let's go!